At our 20th anniversary dinner, I stepped away to use the restroom and accidentally overheard my wife talking to her brother on the phone. She said, "I've already moved most of his inheritance into accounts he can't touch. Once the house sells next month, I'm filing for divorce and taking the kids to California." That morning, we had just renewed our vows. I walked back to the table, ordered champagne, and didn't say a word. But now, she's outside my house, screaming like a maniac. I'm writing this from my bedroom with the blinds shut while my soon-to-be ex is still having a meltdown on my front lawn. My hands won't stop shaking, but I have to share this before I lose it. So here it goes. Yesterday marked 20 years with this woman. We celebrated by renewing our vows in her parents' backyard. It wasn't anything big, just family and a few close friends. Marrera wore a simple white dress since she had mentioned last month that her old wedding gown didn't fit anymore. Our kids, Eric, 16, and Serenity, 13, stood beside us looking bored, but at least they were there. I got emotional saying those vows, thinking about everything we'd been through, good and bad. If only I had known what was really going on. The day started pretty normal. She even brought me coffee in bed, which was odd since she never does that. We had the ceremony, then lunch with her parents. Before our dinner reservation at Carmelo's, an expensive Italian restaurant she'd been dying to try, we had some downtime. During those few hours, she was unusually glued to her phone. I asked who she was texting, and she brushed it off with, "Just finalizing some surprise details for tonight," giving me a weird smile that didn't match her eyes. I figured she was planning something romantic, and let it go. For background, my mom passed 3 months ago after a long battle with cancer. My dad died last year. I'm an only child, so I inherited everything. The house, their savings, dad's record collection, mom's jewelry. Not a fortune, but definitely enough to change things for our family. We'd discussed using it for the kids' college funds and maybe finally redoing the kitchen. Dinner seemed great at first. Marrera was unusually attentive, touching my arm, laughing at my jokes. The waiter even brought over complimentary Prosecco for our anniversary. I remember thinking, damn, I'm lucky. Even though things had been rocky since Mom passed, she hadn't really been supportive during those final weeks, always had an excuse not to come to the hospice. I told myself maybe she just didn't handle that kind of thing well. Halfway through dinner, I went to use the restroom. As I came back, I noticed her standing in the hallway on the phone. She didn't see me. I could tell by the way she was turned away, speaking in that low voice people use when they don't want to be overheard. I was about to call her name when I heard her say mine. I stopped cold and stepped back. I know, eavesdropping isn't right, but something in her voice just froze me. She said, "Russell has no idea. I've already moved most of his inheritance. Once the house sells next month, I'm filing and taking the kids to California." My whole body locked up. She kept talking. "He's been so distracted with his grief, he hasn't noticed anything. The realtor said we'll get multiple offers next week." Realtor? Our house wasn't even listed. "Eric might be tough at first," she added, "but Serenity and I are close. And Russell's always working, or with his mom anyway. With his dying mother, mind you. The vow renewal was actually perfect. No judge will think he didn't know about the house sale." Let that sink in. My wife renewed our vows as part of her legal plan. I must have made a noise because she suddenly turned. I ducked into the bathroom, heart racing so hard I could feel it in my eyes. I waited a minute, splashed water on my face, and went back to the table like nothing had happened. She smiled and asked if I wanted dessert. I ordered champagne, trying to keep it together while my brain just stalled. I couldn't stop staring at her, wondering who this woman really was. She kept texting under the table, probably sending more updates to her brother. On the drive home, she kept trying to hold my hand. I let her. I needed time to process. How long had she been planning this? How much had she already taken? Where in California was she moving to? Was she ever really happy? At home, she tried to get intimate. I pretended I had a migraine, first time I've ever turned her down, and said I needed to rest. She seemed annoyed but went to the bathroom. While she was in there, I checked our joint accounts. They were almost empty, with just enough for bills and groceries. I opened the safe where I kept my mom's jewelry and my dad's watches. Gone. After she fell asleep, I went downstairs and opened my laptop. She'd been busy. Emails with a realtor. Our house had been listed as coming soon last week. Conversations with a school district in San Diego. An email thread with some guy named Marcus about a fresh start. I wanted to vomit. I made some calls. My buddy Steven let me crash at his place. I called my sister Anna, who lives a few hours away. By 6 a.m., a locksmith was changing the locks. I'd already packed a bag with all the important stuff. When Marrera woke up and realized I was gone, she started blowing up my phone. I ignored her. I was at the bank by 9, freezing what was left. Then I met with Joan, a lawyer, who helped me file emergency motions to block the house sale and protect the remaining assets. I went back to the house at 10, knowing she'd be at yoga. Grabbed more of my stuff and the kids' documents. Left her a note on her vanity that said, "I heard everything at the restaurant. Lawyer up." Then I left and went back to Joan's office. While I was sitting in my car outside her building, the first voicemail from Marrera came in. Just her screaming that I couldn't do this, that I was overreacting, that she could explain everything. I blocked her. When I got home, I waited. For the kids. They deserved the truth. From me, not her. When I pulled into the driveway, she was already there, pounding on the door, mascara running, screaming like a banshee. She didn't see me. I sat in the car, staring at this person who planned to take everything, my kids, my parents' legacy, the home we built together. She's still out there now, sitting on the porch, sobbing into the phone, probably calling Cannon or Marcus. The neighbors are definitely watching. Laughed with me at dinner parties, who I'd helped move houses, babysat their kids. It felt like getting stabbed by people I never thought would turn on me. She spun the story so well that people were texting me things like, "Get help, man," or "We're praying for you." A few even threatened to call CPS. I sat there in the parking lot outside work, just staring at my phone, wondering how someone could be so calculated. This wasn't just damage control. This was full-on character assassination. I texted Joan everything. She said we'd add defamation and parental alienation to the list. Said I should stay off social media for now, that the more I reacted, the more fuel I'd give her. But it's hard when your world is imploding and people you once trusted are jumping ship without even asking your side. I called Eric's school and made sure the staff was aware of the situation. Same with Serenity's. Didn't want Marrera or her brother trying anything shady, like pulling the kids out. By the time I picked them up, they were quiet. No one said much. Serenity had clearly been crying at school, and Eric looked like he was holding in a volcano. I tried to lighten the mood with a drive-through stop, but even chicken nuggets couldn't fix this mess. Back home, they both went to their rooms again. I just sat in the living room, not sure if I should cry, scream, or punch a wall. Later, Eric came out and asked if he could talk. Just him and me. He sat down and asked if what their mom said was true, about me stealing money, being unstable. I could see the fear in his eyes. I told him the truth, as much of it as I could without turning him against her. Said that his mom made some serious mistakes, that I was hurt and angry, but I would never do anything to harm them, that I loved them more than anything. He didn't say much, but he nodded. Then he said he believed me, that he'd seen how she acted lately, how weird things had felt at home even before Grandma passed. Said he was scared too, but not of me. He hugged me, which nearly wrecked me all over again. Serenity came out a little after that. She didn't say anything, just crawled into my lap and cried. We sat like that for a long time. The three of us, broken and exhausted, but together. And I realized no matter what Marrera throws at us, no matter how messy this gets, this right, here is what I'm fighting for. Sit in my lap and cry, something she hadn't done since she was little. We stayed like that for a while, her arms tight around my neck, and I just held her. I didn't say much. There was nothing I could say that would make it all okay. Later that night, she left a note on my pillow. I love you, Dad. Thank you. For not being fake. I cried in the bathroom with the shower running so they wouldn't hear. We've been slowly finding a new rhythm. The house is quieter, but somehow feels more honest now. The kids have adjusted better than I thought they would. Eric's been spending more time with Anna's son, bonding over video games and dark jokes I pretend not to hear. Serenity's started therapy and even asked if we could redecorate her room. She said it feels like shedding old skin. I get that. Mira still tries to text sometimes, long emotional messages that swing between apologies and accusations. I don't answer anymore. Everything goes through my lawyer. Marcus kept his word and provided everything we needed. He's been surprisingly helpful, even sent a follow-up email with links to support groups for people who've been scammed by partners. I never responded, but I appreciated it. The full divorce hearing is in a few months. There's still a long road ahead, lawyers, paperwork, more uncomfortable conversations. But I've stopped feeling scared. I'm just tired. Tired, but free. And that's something. So yeah, Reddit. That's where we're at. If you're reading this and going through something similar, just know it gets messy, it gets ugly, but there's light on the other side. You don't have to stay where you're being lied to, where you're being drained. You can rebuild. And maybe, just maybe, one day your daughter will hand you a mug that says, "At least you're not Mom," and you'll laugh so hard you forget, for a moment, that any of this ever hurt. Hearing the kids ask if Mom still loved them shattered me. The next few weeks were a blur. More meetings with Joan, more court dates, and trying to keep things somewhat normal for the kids. Mira moved in with Lauren, who apparently chose friendship over loyalty. Even after that apology text, she picked her side. The supervised visits started at my sister Anna's place, which she kindly offered as neutral ground. Those first visits were painfully awkward. Mara would show up with over-the-top gifts, clearly trying to buy the kids' love. Eric gave most of them back. Serenity kept hers, but looked completely lost about how to feel. The court-appointed supervisor, a kind older woman who knitted quietly through every visit, wrote down everything she saw. Untangling the finances took longer. After a court order, I finally got back $320,000 of my inheritance. The house stayed, in my name, because it had been passed down to me. I never did recover my mom's jewelry or my dad's watches. Mira claimed she sold them months ago. That hurt even worse than the money. The social side of things got weird. Some friends ghosted, both of us not wanting to pick a side. Others made it clear, Team Mara or Team Russell. My buddy Steven and his wife basically adopted us into their family. We had dinner with them often when I didn't have the energy to cook. Some of Eric's friends' parents even started including Serenity in their daughter's mall trips. People really do show up for you in ways you never expect. Work got tough with all the court stuff and emotional roller coasters. But my boss surprised me. Turned out his first wife had done something similar, though for way less money. He let me change my hours for a while, which helped me balance this new single dad life. Then came the weird part. Facebook started suggesting online dating profiles like it knew I was single now. 2 months after everything blew up, the algorithm was already on the move. I wasn't ready for that mess. Maybe I never will be. The kids are slowly adjusting. Eric's grades dropped at first, but picked back up once we settled into a rhythm. He started spending more time in the garage using my dad's old tools to build these detailed wooden boxes. Guess that's how he's working through things. Serenity went through a phase, calling Mara every night, crying. Then she'd ignore her for weeks. Now they're slowly figuring out their own version of normal. As for Mira, last I heard, her California plans are on pause. The court said she has to stay within 50 miles until custody's fully settled. Marcus ghosted her after the hearing. She's working at a boutique downtown. Ran into her once at the grocery store. 7 painfully awkward minutes in the cereal aisle while people stared. 6 months have passed now. The divorce was finalized last week, way faster than I thought. The judge gave me primary custody. Mira gets every other weekend and dinner on Wednesdays. She kept her car, clothes, and personal stuff. I kept the house, inheritance, and whatever was left in our joint savings. She has to pay child support now, which feels odd considering she always handled our budget. The house feels emptier without her, even with 2 teens making noise. Some mornings I wake up and, for a split second, forget everything. Then it all comes rushing back, and I have to face another day of piecing life together. Last night, Serenity found an old anniversary card from Mara while looking through my desk for school stuff. It was full of those classic promises, forever, growing old together. She asked if I was sad about losing that future. Smart kid. Tough question. I told her I wasn't sad about losing a future that was never real. The version of Mira who wrote that card didn't really exist. I'm sad about that. But not about losing someone who could sit across from me at dinner, smiling, while secretly planning to destroy everything. I'm still figuring out this new life. The bathroom sink is leaking again. Eric needs new cleats. Serenity's caught in some friendship drama I can't even begin to understand. Life's messy and far from perfect, but at least it's real now. And Mara? Her TikTok's still up. Her latest video series is about healing from narcissistic abuse and finding yourself post-divorce. The comments are full of strangers cheering her on, not knowing the truth. I could set the record straight, but what's the point? Some people rewrite history forever. Me? I'm just trying to write a better future for the 3 of us who are still here.